Let's round out our discussion of the three rhetorical appeals by discussing logos, or logic. If you remember, I used Spock, the science officer on the Starship Enterprise, as my metaphorical representation of logos, or logic. Now, remember, logic is the beginning of wisdom. So right away, as soon as you begin your presentation, you need to illustrate good, sound logic, strong evidence, and clear reasoning. Logic is based on either argument by commonplace or argument by example. Let's take a few minutes to talk about what this actually means. Now, argument by commonplace is also known as deductive reasoning. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, author of the famous Sherlock Holmes mystery series, was a master and a pupil of deductive reasoning. He believed that deduction could be something that was studied and learned. So when you apply deductive reasoning, you're sort of applying the Sherlock Holmes mentality to making an argument. Deduction is argument by commonplace. A commonplace is a shared value or belief. Now here we go back to how important it is to understanding audience. The way you figure out what your shared values and beliefs are is by analyzing who your audience is and looking for those points of similarity between you and your target audience. Here's basically how deduction works. I lay out two premises. These are commonplaces or shared values. If those two are true, then the conclusion, which is the choice I want the audience to make, the way in which I want them to change their minds or take action, that must also be true if my commonplaces hold true for my audience. Here's an example. Eat your peas because they are good for you. Now, what I want my audience to do, I want to persuade my audience to eat their peas. In order to convince them of this, I use a commonplace. The commonplace here is that they are good for you. I can assume that my audience wants to do things that are good for themselves, which means that if they do want to do things that are good for them, and peas are good for them, they will naturally say, yes, we'll eat our peas. Let me give you another example related to what we've been talking about in the class. So let's say that Darth Vader comes to me and he says, I would like to persuade my son to join the dark side of the Force. I have put together a wonderful PowerPoint slide. Check it out. Tell me what you think. Now, since Darth Vader has gone through my class, I can lay out two commonplaces that will help Darth Vader make a better decision. First of all, bullets are the least engaging way to present information, as we've learned from Nancy Duarte and Gar Reynolds. Second commonplace, audiences want to be engaged. My conclusion is, don't use bullet points if you want to engage your audience, in this case, if you want to convince your son. Therefore, Darth Vader abandons the bullet point and just talks to his son. Next time, we'll cover the basics of inductive reasoning, the partner to deductive reasoning in developing logos or the logic of your argument.